Okay, reports have surfaced stating that White Hart Lane and the rebuild there may not be completed until March. This is posing a lot of problems for Tottenham. They've already had to have a League Cup tie against Watford moved to MK Don Stadium in Milton Keynes, which has created some negative responses amongst fans. And this is the problem. Going forward, Wembley is getting pretty booked up. They've had to move the NFL game that was meant to be played at White Hart Lane to Wembley. So that now creates a fixture clash. Um, there's been they're going to have to rearrange a lot of fixtures now. In the summer, when it was known that the stadium was going to be slightly delayed, I'm going to say slightly delayed in the summer, they applied to the FA to either have most of their home games switched to away games at the beginning of the season, and they also applied to reuse Wembley. Now, they've used Wembley for 2 years as their temporary home, and that's not a problem. But the issue is now where the fixture list has been announced. There's going to be some rearranging, and not all the clubs are happy with this. In fact, most of the other clubs in the Premier League aren't happy with this. And then you've got to think about the cup competitions, as I've stated. The game against Watford has been moved to Milton Keynes, which has upset and annoyed Watford Football Club and Watford's fans and Tottenham fans as well because of the extra travel costs incurred. When it comes to away, ticket allocation, away fans will obviously apply for their ticket allocation, and then they will make their transport arrangements. When it comes to the cup competitions, because you've got the Champions League, the League Cup, and the FA Cup, that poses problems because you get put into a hat for the next round. For example, if the Tottenham gets the knockout stage of the Champions League, and then each time you knock a team out, you get through to the next round. You're drawn against to play against a team. So the FA Cup, especially, you're drawn out the hat. It's a random draw. This is posing a few headaches. Other clubs in the past have either rebuilt their stadium stand by stand and stayed at the stadium, so Man United and Liverpool, for example. Other clubs have stayed at their old stadium until the new stadium is built, such as Arsenal. And of course, other teams have had a full stadium rebuild or redevelopment or refurb and have ground shared with another club nearby. I'm surprised Tottenham haven't considered the ground share option or the build it stand by stand option. They decided to go for full rebuild and rent Wembley, which is fair enough. The rental agreement with Wembley has now expired, and they've had to ask for special permission to play games at Wembley this season, which is costing them money. And also, every day delayed is a day extra over budget. So they spent a lot of money so far. They're going to go over budget by a lot. They didn't obviously spend any money in the summer getting new players in. They just extended contracts for Harry Kane and other key players in the squad. So they haven't added to the squad. They've just improved the pay of their squad. So they didn't go into the transfer market. So that was a big story. But this is a problem. It's a problem for the fans, home and away. So Tottenham fans and away fans to organise transport, where the game is being played, accommodation, you name it. There's issues there, and it will affect Tottenham's revenues because if they're having to rent a stadium for a day to play a game, they will have to pay that stadium owner money. So Milton Keynes, the MK Dons, they're going to be receiving a match night fee from Tottenham to have Tottenham's home fixture played in Milton Keynes. So it's going to cost Tottenham money. And it doesn't look good when you're trying to sell the club to new investors, new sponsors, and new fans if you can't get your stadium built on time. Now, I don't know what the feeling is amongst Tottenham fans about the stadium rebuild and the rebuild of White Hart Lane. But a lot of fans at other clubs who've had full new stadiums built, such as the Emirates, Arsenal fans aren't necessarily totally happy with the Emirates. And that's their big London rivals. And I'm surprised, I know it'd be highly unlikely, but I am surprised Arsenal and Tottenham didn't agree a ground share while Tottenham's stadium was being rebuilt, because Arsenal would have made money out of it. And Arsenal are very good at making money. Something they've been very, very good at is making money, not spending it. So I'm surprised that didn't happen. I understand the choice of Wembley. It's also in North London, and it's a big stadium. But that's owned by the FA, and they have other events that they put on there. There'll be music concerts, for example. NFL, as we know, rugby league and rugby union play games there as well. So it's a well-used stadium. It's not just used for football. Of course, you've got the women's football team that are also trying to play more games at Wembley as well. So that again poses a problem of fixture congestion at Wembley and fixture clashes when Tottenham want to use the stadium. hence why they're having to play a game in Milton Keynes. But this is all down to the fire safety system. Something so simple as water sprinklers, fire alarms and smoke detectors have caused this delay, according to some reports online. Now, it's a problem. It surprises me that, this is what the hold-up is. The amount of money spent. This doesn't look good for the club, and it doesn't look good for the construction firm that are building the stadium for the club. So Daniel Levy's got a bit of a PR headache here. Now, this is not the players' fault. The players have been doing exemplary things on the field. They've been a very, very good side over the last 4 or 5 seasons. They've been growing year on year. A lot of their players now making it into the England side and other international sides, and have done really well at the World Cup. The fans have tolerated the Wembley experience, and Wembley's not a great stadium, and I will admit that. The atmosphere at Wembley's a bit, to say the least. But the fans have obviously are really behind the club, as in the team on the field. The team on the field are doing great things, but this has got to be a distraction for the players. And I'll be interested to know what the fans think. Now, obviously, it's a new stadium. It increased the capacity, increased the revenues, and that is great. That is great. But the fact that it is late is a concern for those fans, both Tottenham and the away fans. It is a concern. So there we go. We'll have to see what happens. If it gets built quicker, great, more the merrier. But there has been concerns that it may not be ready till March, maybe even longer. It depends how good the weather stays. If we have a bad winter like we did last year, that could delay it again. That's part of the reason why it is behind schedule, is because the winter we had, heavy snows in February, March, and April. That's had an effect. But again, contingency planning doesn't seem to be very good here. But there we go. I'm going to leave that there. Thank you very much for watching. If you are a Tottenham fan, what are your thoughts on the stadium delays? And if you're a football fan in general and your team have got to play Tottenham yet this season in the league or the Champions League, I want to know what you feel. If you're a Watford fan about the League Cup tie being moved to Milton Keynes, what are your thoughts? I know they've been very negative online on Twitter and on other YouTube channels. I've seen a lot of comments where they're very negative and critical of the whole situation. So we'll have to see what happens. But if you've got a game against Tottenham coming up, and you're the away fan, what are your thoughts? Thank you very much for watching, and I'll have some more videos for you soon.